October 4th, 1957. The Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the first artificial satellite to orbit the Earth. That evening, Lyndon B. Johnson writes in his memoirs, "Now, somehow, in some new way, the sky seemed almost alien. I also remember the profound shock of realizing that it might be possible for another nation to achieve technological superiority over this great country of ours." With the successful launching of Sputnik, it was easy to fear that their achievement reflected genuine merit in the communist system. The Moscow press release glorified the Soviet success, stating, "Artificial Earth satellites will pave the way for space travel, and the present generation will witness how the freed and conscious labor of the people of the new socialist society turns even the most daring of mankind's dreams into reality." November 3rd, 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 2. This time it carried a dog named Laika, which further showed the world how advanced their rocket technology was, and that they were a step closer to putting a man in space.
The rocket that launched Sputnik number 2 is capable of carrying a 1.5 ton hydrogen bomb warhead.
The Russians have licked some of the toughest problems on the basis of the so-called ultimate weapon.
Let's quit acting as if nothing happened, because something has happened, and it has embarrassed us throughout the world.
Not just our pride, but our security is at stake.
The Russians will leave us behind and wait.
That the country is in dire trouble.
This may be our last chance to provide the means of saving Western civilization from annihilation.
In a scramble to redeem themselves, the U.S. would attempt to launch their first satellite from Project Vanguard on December 6, 1957. The thrust of their rockets were nowhere near that of the Soviets, and the satellite, which was at first advertised to be a 21.5-pound sphere, turned out to be a sphere weighing only 3 pounds and measured 6 inches across, though this tiny satellite carried the hopes and dreams of the entire nation. The rocket is said by experts not to have got off the ground because of loss of thrust. It is an arresting phrase. Loss of thrust is what the Western democracies have been suffering from. The failure was nothing but embarrassing for the United States. At the United Nations, Soviet delegates asked their American counterparts if the United States might wish to receive foreign aid. The Soviet success with Sputnik 1 and 2, and the Americans' complete failure with Vanguard, was a major blow to American prestige. Also, there became reason to fear that in third world countries, perception of American weakness would become reality. Their leaders did not appreciate capitalism and believed the future would favor socialism. Though these countries would side with the United States, and only because they thought they were winning. But if they became convinced the Soviets would win, well, it would become a whole different story. January 31st, 1958, the United States launched Explorer 1, their first successful satellite to orbit the Earth.
Five, four, three, two, one. Fire command. Fire command. Fire command.
Why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
July 16, 1969. The United States launched Apollo 11, the spaceflight that landed the first humans on the moon, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, accompanied by Michael Collins, the pilot.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.